My name is Sophie Blake, I'm 36 years old, and until last month, I truly believed my life was calm, steady, and just fine. My husband, Ethan, and I had been married for 11 years. No big fights. No dramatic moments. No glaring problems. We were the kind of couple people described as dependable, comfortable, maybe even a little boring but solid. Ethan works in logistics management. He has long hours and a laid-back personality. I never thought he was the jealous type. At least that's what I believed. I work in finance and had just earned a promotion, reporting directly to my department manager, Daniel Harper. The new role came with extra responsibilities, late meetings, and dinners that sometimes felt a little too personal, even if they were strictly business. It all fell apart on a Thursday night. Daniel was in town for quarterly reviews, and the leadership team had arranged a dinner to wrap things up. Nothing unusual. Just a nice steakhouse by the waterfront in downtown Seattle. Dark wood tables, dim lighting, the kind of place where work discussions drag on. By the time the group thinned out, Daniel and I were still talking budgets, projections, career plans. I didn't think twice about staying late. I didn't notice Ethan until I heard my name called. When I looked up, he was there by the door, completely still, watching us. The moment was crushing. Daniel was mid-sentence, leaning in slightly, laughing at a joke I'd made. From across the room, I now realize how it must have looked. Too close, too familiar. Ethan didn't yell. He didn't come over. He just stood there for a few seconds, then turned and left. My heart sank. I ran outside calling his name, but he was already in his car. I tapped the window. He stared straight ahead and drove off. When I got home, the silence was unbearable. Ethan returned about an hour later. No questions. No accusations. He just went upstairs, showered, and slept in the spare bedroom. I told myself we'd talk in the morning. We always work things out eventually. Morning came. He was already gone. At work, my phone buzzed with a single text from him. I need some space. That space stretched into days. No homecomings. No answered calls. Just short messages about practical things, groceries, bills, the dog. No emotions. No questions. It was as if something inside him had quietly switched off. On the fourth night, I couldn't stand it any longer. I drove to his sister's house in Portland, assuming he was staying there. Ethan opened the door looking calm, almost eerily calm. He let me in, sat across from me, hands folded, posture straight. I spilled everything immediately. The dinner, the meeting, the whole story. I rushed through it, afraid of any pause. When I finished, he nodded once. I believe you, Sophie, he said. Those words stunned me more than anger ever could have. But before I could respond, he continued. Believing you doesn't undo what I saw. Watching you laugh with another man, leaning in, unaware I was there. It changed something in me. Not because I think you cheated, but because it showed me how invisible I had become. I saw a side of you I haven't seen in years. Alive, engaged, truly present. Then he said something I can't forget. I won't fight for attention in my own marriage. Over the past few days, he explained, he'd been reflecting on our life together. The routines, conversations out of habit, me scrolling emails at dinner, his own silence to avoid confrontation. That was his choice, but he refused to keep living like that. He told me he was pulling back. Not to punish me, but to see if distance mattered, to see if I noticed, to see if I cared beyond fear. Half his belongings were already in storage. Our accounts were separated. He had booked therapy appointments, not couples counseling, but for himself. I panicked. I asked if there was someone else. He shook his head. This is about me. About my self-respect, he said. I promised him change, fewer late nights, more focus on us. He listened, then said softly, change only after fear isn't the same as change chosen willingly. Before I left, he added, if we ever rebuild this, it will only be because we both actively choose each other again. Not because we're scared to be alone. Weeks have passed. We talk sometimes, carefully, thoughtfully. He's not cold or cruel. He's simply distant, intentionally, calmly. The real shock wasn't that Ethan saw me at dinner with my boss. It was that instead of exploding, accusing, or pleading, he chose clarity. He set boundaries. He chose himself. I replay that night often, not defensively but honestly. I didn't cheat, but I had drifted. In that drift, I forgot that neglect hurts as much as betrayal. I don't know how this will end, but I see our marriage and myself more clearly than ever. Sometimes the most startling reaction isn't anger. It's the quiet decision to stop settling for less than you deserve. Trust isn't just about fidelity. It's about presence. It's about paying attention and choosing each other every day, without needing a reminder. Ethan didn't storm out in rage. He stepped away with purpose. And that truth weighs more than any accusation ever could.